there's a revolution going on in the mainstream media and world about the concept of mindfulness meditation, and what it means. And there's even been an article in Time magazine, a front page article, in which people are really discovering mindfulness as the secret to health and happiness. So, mindful practice, or a mindfulness practice, works in a strange way. It works unlike most things that we try, where we're trying to get something from it or attain a benefit. Mindfulness practice works because we don't do that, or it's at its best when we don't do that. This is something that Buddha found to be true, and inspired him in his teachings and writings. And so mindfulness has been with us a very, very long time. Mindfulness meditation. So apparently, this Congressman Tim Ryan from Ohio, he wrote a book called The Mindful Nation, about bringing mindfulness into politics and society. And other people are incorporating that into their work environments. So a lot of these techie Silicon Valley types are going on mindfulness retreats and things like that. There's a story about a lieutenant in the Hillsborough Police Department who brought a mindfulness training program for his police officers. And this was after an incident involving a veteran officer who faced off against the rest of the police force, and it left the team shaken because apparently this man had I guess, some sort of a meltdown or something. And so, looking for ways to help officers not get to that point, he brought mindfulness training in. And now with social media and all of these things, uh, you know, these things can distract you quite a bit. So mindfulness approaches can help you take control of your technology, which is something we'll talk about next time, because that's very close to our heart here on this show. And we'll talk about how you can control your technology habits and use them mindfully. Again, and my philosophy always has been that, you can choose to walk away from technology and media. But unless you're going to live in a bubble, or you're going to, go to a mountaintop, you're going to have to find effective ways to deal with them, because it's not really possible to cut yourself off from all of it in most cases. So that's mindfulness in a nutshell. Another one of our great topics. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about mindfulness in tech next week. Now, the second most popular were the series of shows I did on New Thought movements, and the different sects, the different churches that have come out of that movement. I think people were very interested in finding out the difference between these different churches. They've heard their names, they've heard them talked about in certain ways, but never really understood and also New Thought churches tend to see the concept of divinity differently, as a force within us all and within the world. God isn't seen as a character, or a man or a woman. He's an infinite intelligence that we are all connected to. So in a very real sense, we are all part of that. We are all God in that sense. So we'll talk more about New Thought next week as well, since that was a popular one. Next up in popularity were our discussions on spiritual but not religious. As more and more Americans, now up to 1 in 5 Americans, considers themselves to be spiritual but not religious, and are, if not turning away from, are finding a different path besides the traditional organized religion in exploring their spirituality. So we talked about that. That's a very popular. Those were very popular shows and very popular concept. So we will review those, talk about those as well. I think it is the future as far as developing an understanding of our spiritual nature. And the New Thought churches are actually part and parcel of this new idea of what spiritual is. I've said often on the show that spirituality and religion are often at cross purposes. They are not interchangeable. They're not the same thing. They are actually two very different things. Religions play an important role in many aspects of our society. They certainly can help in providing support. They certainly can be great as far as charitable ideas go, but they are also organizations, and so they have their rules and they have their ideas, and one must adhere to those ideas if one wants to be part of that organization. Spirituality does not work that way. Spirituality is everyone has a spiritual nature, and it's personal to everyone. So when one wishes to explore one's spirituality, one can find oneself at cross purposes with traditional religions. So I think that's something that more and more people are finding. Segments. The biggest and most popular one were the shows that I did on New Thought and the different approaches, including Scientology, which is sort of part of, but not really, a New Thought religion. So those probably bear repeating. I won't repeat the whole episodes, but we'll talk about them again because it's something that folks have a big interest in. So until next week, we'll do our part 2 of our best of show.